welcome Museum. This is the second quarter luncheon, Mayor's Luncheon for 2016. And many of your faces look familiar, so I know several of you have been here for previous luncheon sessions and getting the head nod. I'd like to thank you for following the series and being connected to the City of North Miami and our local business initiative. As you know, the mayor started the series of luncheons back in 2015, so this is actually the sixth in a series of luncheons that have been held here in the City of North Miami. Really the purpose of the luncheons is to create a forum, a place for discussion for local businesses to connect with regional issues, to be able to connect with the resources that are out there in our county and in the Tri-County region. So we're happy today to be hosting an event with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. We have a very interesting cast of panelists that you'll be hearing from this afternoon. We also have a moderator that is no stranger to the city, Mr. Eric Knowles, so we'll introduce him shortly. I'm going to invite our mayor, Mayor Smith-Joseph, to come forward. Our mayor will be doing the official welcome and be sharing a few words before we start off with this afternoon's program.
Good afternoon. Today is a very sunny day compared to yesterday. This is our number 7 or number 6? This is our number 6 in the series of quarterly luncheon, which I initiated last year after numerous conversations with my famous CP&D director and as well as the management. So we considered all the elements and all the waves that are going on in the Miami-Dade County. We figured that we would have this forum where the small businesses, medium-sized, even larger-sized businesses can actually come and gather more information that could be used in the sole purpose of the interest of the City of North Miami and the residents and the businesses. This is a very good forum. It's very positive. Thus far, we've been getting very good feedback from different sectors, private, city, government, county government. And as you know, North Miami is a city that is on the move. So we are on the move. We are going places. We are taking new directions to change the paradigm. Actually, the paradigm has already shifted. We're in a totally new direction. And we have a council that is very dynamic. I don't see any of the members here. I believe most of them are working. We have a council that is really sensitive to the needs of our community. So, and we thank Mr. Talbot, to really take the time out of his busy schedule to be here. It is with pleasure that we welcome you today, Mr. Talbot. We know you are a wealth of knowledge, and we cannot wait to hear you speak, and so we can pick your brain and get the information that the city needs, to really. I'm not going to go into the different projects that we have in the city, but I must tell you, and Mr. Sejour can correct me as well as Mr. Deputy Manager. For some reason, I feel like the city is at a speed that it's never been at before. Am I right to say so? And we are really moving different department of the city, government. They are very, they have a zest that people have never seen before. People are more enthusiastic. We have different council members with their own projects to develop different districts of the city. And I, as the mayor, as you know, I have all of the districts. And I embrace all positive projects, all productive ones that the city council members come with to see to it that the residents benefit from these projects. And we have a city that is 90 years old, and my big motivation is 10 years from now, what will we have to show when we get to the point of celebrating our centennial? Okay, 10 years from now we'll be 90 years old. So we have a housing stock that is very old. We have our streets, that are broken, that need repair. And we have a lot of things that need to be done. So it behooves us now as policymakers to come up with projects that the city will benefit from so that 10 years from now, we can show what North Miami has been doing. So with that being said, I don't know if I should say something else that I didn't say. Mrs. Zhou will probably fill you in. I'm sure she will let me know after I go sit down. So I just want to say welcome to all of you. I forgot to mention our CRA. We have a new CRA director, Ms. Rasha Kamo. She's a little sparkling fire. And for those of you who may not know, our CRA is 10 years old, and it was supposed to sunset early this year, but we're very lucky. And I'm glad to let you know that our CRA is going to be renewed for another 29 years or 30 years, I should say. And with that, there's a lot of projects that are going to be coming in. We have a master plan that we need to attack, and we've passed many resolutions, and we've sent many signals out there to the investors, to the people who want to come and do big things, to the visionaries, to venture capitalists, and who wants to come to our city. We want to do business with them. We want to welcome them, but we want to do positive business. And that is the only way we can bring North Miami to the level and to the height where we want it to be. Thank you very much for coming, and I will pass the mic back to our community planning and development manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I proceed, do we have the elected officials in the room? I'm looking around. All right, wonderful. Just Seraphim, welcome. Thank you for joining today's forum. Also want to recognize our city manager, wave a hand. Our deputy city manager is here with us. We have our chief of staff, Natasha Colbrook. And as the mayor mentioned before, we have our CRA director. And today's topic I wanted to mention is actually travel, trade, and tourism. We know that South Florida is a major tourist hub within the region. We recognize that there's lots of economic development opportunities that surround us as a city. So for today's forum, we really want to be able to delve down in the topic of travel, trade, and tourism. And we have a very good cast of experts that are here on the panel. What you hear from before, though, we're going to have a spotlight with the Greater Miami Convention Visitors Bureau, Mr. William Talbert. He's the CEO of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Mr. Talbert, if you're actually ready, we'll have you come forward to provide you. He's always ready. Have you come forward at this time with your presentation.
Thank you all very much. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm going to put the clock. I got 30 minutes. Everybody interrupt if you have questions. I did this recently, and Eric Knowles was there. And if you have any questions, this is like old home week. The mayor, where's the mayor? Really? That is my favorite mayor, the mayor here of North Miami, the favorite mayor who's here today, so I thank you for that. And Larry Spring, huh? You're here. I'm here. This is a smart city, huh? Smart city. And I'm thrilled to be here. One thing I'm going to do is take some pictures. Take a picture for social media. So if anybody is here with someone they're not supposed to be with, the restroom is over here, and you're free to rush out. So we're going to do a little social media. Remember, I have 30 minutes. Has anybody ever heard of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau? Huh? Good. We are let me get the clock back again. We are the official destination sales and marketing company for Greater Miami and the Beaches, which is all of Miami-Dade County, including North Miami. And we spend a lot of time here in North Miami, particularly on the art and culture side. We have an art and culture tourism director who's been around for about 20 years. And I know we've had, I think the Art of Black during Art Basel last year was here. We've celebrated some of the great artists. We've been in this room. In fact, the Richard Shack Gallery, we were with Mrs. Shack, former county commissioner, here recently. My car knew how to get here. I got my parking spot out here, and I'm all set. So North Miami is important to the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau and important to our community. We've got some pop-ups here with Miami. This is Miami Film Month in June. I think everybody knows Miami Spice, Miami Spa, but we now have pretty much all 12 months of the year are taken by what we call Temptations Month, and that's funded by Citibank and Stella Artois. And I can tell you that we're very honored in this month of June to have the 20th Annual American Black Film Festival return to Miami-Dade County. Where did we get them from? Where were they last year? Eric, where were they last year? Huh? Last year? No. New York. New York. So we were able to lure them for their 20th Annual American Black Film Festival. And if you want any tickets, that begins June 19th. If you want any tickets to the American Black Film Festival, you get them from Eric Knowles. And he has all the good tickets. Right, Eric? Also, I have to out Eric today. It was a couple years ago, I think on my birthday, Eric introduced me to new fashion. And now I kind of exceeded him. And what is the fashion? It's socks. So when Eric moderates the next session, you can see his toned down, very pablum socks that he has today. So, but Eric serves on our board and proudly serves on our board, involved with the Black Hospitality Initiative, the Multicultural Tourism and Development Department, and we're off and running. Let me give you just a bit of the facts of travel and tourism in our community. Last year in 2015, we had a record 15.4 million overnight visitors. Overnight visitors. You see bigger numbers from others, and they include what's called day trips, day trippers. They come and go, they don't stay in hotels, and so those are the most valued customers. And last year in 15, we got a million more than the year before. And half of that million were first-time visitors. So that's we think that reflects on our marketing efforts. We have half of our business is international. 50% of our 15.4 million overnight visitors are international. And that's the highest percentage of any place in the United States of America, by a factor of 2. Now others have made more raw numbers. Nobody has 50%. I think New York City, 25%. Orlando, 12%. Now that 50% international represents 70% of the visitor spend in our community. So we have a little pop quiz, and Eric cannot answer this question. So, because he's seen this movie, right, Eric? Does anybody, what country, we're going to go down a list of countries for visitors to Miami-Dade County, principally for vacations, but they also represent the business traveler as well. If a person comes, we survey every month 400 visitors. 400 visitors. What is the principal purpose of your visit? So we track the principal purpose of visit for a vacation. Principal purpose of visit is for a meeting or a convention. And also, we have our Port Miami representative here. It's cruise capital of the world.
Always was.
And always will be. About 7% of our 15.4 million visitors last year were principal purpose of the visit was for a cruise. And you're going to hear about our great cruise capital. But here, get ready for the quiz, because I've got 24 minutes left in my speech. For an international country that feeds, in terms of the raw number of visitors last year, what was number one?
Brazil.
Huh? Okay, Brazil. Who said Brazil? Oh, okay, you're correct. And you know, in fact, even though there have been some challenges in Brazil, I guess they're doing government change, regime change, and all that stuff, and they've got issues, it's still a very robust economy. you know, we should grow that slope, you know. So Brazil continued to be number one. What was number two? Huh? Huh? Oh, no, not Spain, sir.
Germany.
Not Germany. Huh?
Colombia.
No, it's in North America. Oh, good. Canada. Number three. What's number three? It's in the Americas. Huh? No. Argentina is 4. Germany is 5. England is 6. And I'll put with this, number 3 is really a robust, growing country of feeding our community. And nobody's ever gotten to number 3. Colombia. Colombia has jumped over England, Germany, and Argentina in the last few years. And 96% of all of our visitors come by air, come through that airport. And in fact, last December, Viva Colombia started direct service to MIA, and that's, you know, so goes air service, so goes the destination. And I know, steal some of Manny's thunder, but Miami International Airport is the only airport in the country served by more than 100 airlines. The only airport in the country now served by 103 airlines. Nobody has that number. You know, we focus a lot. I'm the incoming board chair for Visit Florida. We have a member going to join our board from Florida National University, the hospitality school. But we focus in on the spend of the visitor, because international visitors, we know, stay longer and they spend more, right? They stay longer and spend more. So last year, total visitors, they spent $1 billion more than they did the year before. And Brazil and Argentina continue to be billion-dollar markets. And what's our number one domestic feeder market? In the United States? North America, huh? New York. Okay. What's number 2? Huh? No, city. Huh? Who said Chicago? You're going to the lightning round. It's the lightning round. It is Chicago. Chicago, Philly, Boston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Dallas, L.A., Detroit, and Houston. And interestingly enough, you look at the numbers, you know, you have research, they give you numbers. They just give them to you. But last year, New York City became our first 2 million visitor feeder market. 2.1 million. Remember, we got almost 750,000 Brazilians, but New York, 2.1 million New Yorkers, went up by 200,000, almost 10%, or 10%, right at 10.5%. And they spent $2 billion in our community. We do spend, the Bureau, your Bureau, spend a lot of time in New York City. We have media reps, and we do spend a lot of time there, and it's a great market. In fact, we do our summer stunt there, and we're going to be going up in a few weeks into New York City. But 2.1 of our 15.4 million are New Yorkers. So if you see New Yorkers, throw Chicago in, but to show how it jumps, it goes off, Chicago's not even 500,000, but we love the 468,000. So that's, I told you, the purpose of Visit. Just talk a little bit about North Miami and the kinds of things that would be meaningful for you. You've got the college down the street, where I'm on the Dean's Council for the Hospitality School. It has a different name now, Hospitality and some other stuff. We were on the group when the campus in China was built, Tianjin, Beijing's port city. We've had the honor to actually visit that campus and to lecture. These are smart kids. Ooh, they're smart. So it's, and I think you had a graduation ceremony though in the last week or so. Beautiful picture. I think the president was there. And so, you know, China is an emerging market. We are, because somebody's going to ask questions. One is about, what about China? Okay, I'm going to answer that now. The mayor and the airport director a few months ago, formed an Asia task force. Asia meaning Asia, China, India, very robust market potential, and Japan. And so we, at the business community, and others, FIU is at the table. I've spoken to President Rosenberg, and looking at what is the demand for air service from Asia / China. And I guess the counties, and I'm going to steal the thunder again. You're going to get a report for somebody who was on the ground in China with the county's International Trade Consortium. So I'm not going to steal your thunder, but it was, I watched on social media, and the Bureau was on that trip, but there's a lot of great things going to be happening from Asia, and Manny's going to give you that report. He'll kill me for it. No. I'm going to run out of time here. So Bill, you told us about last year. How about now? We're all in business, a lot of people in business. Everybody own business? How many own businesses? How many want to own a business? How many love the city of North Miami? There you go. You can call the police up. The police can go now. But for the first quarter, for Greater Miami, this great community, which is as large as at least one state, we continue to lead the nation in the top destinations in #1 ranking in occupancy, room rate, and revenue per available room, countywide, bless you. So that shows that we continue to grow. Now, one of our biggest challenges is the challenge of success. We've had, you can look out your window, you can look at wherever you drive, you see the cranes, and because of the success of this community, the entire community, private money has come in from around the world, building new hotels. So we're in the process of absorbing. We're now at 52,000 hotel rooms countywide. And you see just last week, or just a few days ago, I guess technically yesterday, the East Hotel opened in Brickell. It is the first East Hotel outside of China. So, so we're in the process of also on Brickell, Atone. Atone is from Chile. This is their first hotel outside of Chile, and it's in Miami, Florida. This is about the demand for this community. Travel to this community, this one word, this brand that we sell, that word Miami. If you're in North Miami, part of the great brand, this brand, you all travel the world. You say, where are you from? North Miami. What? You know, it's magic. It's magic. And I can tell you that just last week, that magic word had the NFL owners award this community the Super Bowl 2020, LIV, their 100th birthday. So let's hear it for the NFL owners. That 2020 Super Bowl will be really, really good for this community. The stadium's just down the street. The private money is up 400 million, 500 million, whatever. But if you go by that facility, this is going to be one of the top. We have a question. Yes. He actually believed what I said about questions, so yes, sir.
First of all, congratulations on the Super Bowl.
Stand up. Identify yourself. The police are still here, by the way.
Evan Ross, and I have no outstanding warrants that I'm aware of. Congratulations on the Super Bowl. Obviously, with the Super Bowl coming in 2020, I know Super Bowl City will be down at Bayfront Park. There will be lots going on downtown and on the beach, where the game is played in Northgate. And while I know Miami Gardens isn't South Beach and isn't downtown, nor is North Miami, there are still some significant attractions here. Are there plans, or are there going to be plans to drive some of those tourist dollars into the Northgate communities like North Miami? And,
absolutely.
And what are they if they exist?
I mean, it's way too early. The core, you've got the core right. The game will be played at the Miami Gardens. The NFL, over time, has morphed. They used to have, we've been involved with the Super Bowl for, I don't know, 25 or 30 years. They used to spread it all out. And starting in Indianapolis, they had this downtown core. So they have actually a bid requirement. You must propose what would be a downtown core. And that's Super Bowl City, that will be downtown. but we intend to have it all over the community. And by the way, Super Bowl City will be free to the public. We're going to have concerts free to the public. So we will. I'm on the executive committee, and I did get a free lunch today. So I will remember North Miami. And once again, we're here. You have great venues here, and we need great venues. You know, you have up to 200,000 people come into the community, so you're kind of the midway point between Super Bowl City, downtown, and the stadium. So, and there's probably likely to be a team hotel near here. Get it? So that will have a halo effect on what's happening here. But it's our intent to spread it out as much as we can outside of the core. But a good question about Super Bowl 2020. 19 in Atlanta, 20 in Miami, and 21 in LA. But it's interesting that the 100th birthday, which we actually figured that out for the NFL. They didn't know it was our 100th birthday until we told them. He said, by the way, not of the game, last year was the 50th Super Bowl, that was in San Francisco for the game, but the NFL itself, their 100th birthday is going to be here. So we're excited about that. We said you're going to have the best. And it's actually 1,339 days from today. We're already counting. But
And what's the total economic impact for
well, the economic impact. This is. Are there any economists here? Oh well, Manny's my friend. You know, you read different stories about is it 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, and you have these studies. And I think the last one, our last event was 2010, so it's going to be 10 years between games. And I think for that it was about 400 million of economic benefit. And so I have always steered away from those numbers and focused in on the media coverage. And that same study, separate from the 400 million, was 100 million of media coverage. I've always stayed with the media coverage. You don't have to be a PhD economist to know that the whole week of media coverage is priceless. Nobody can argue that. And so that's the space I stay in, is the media coverage. I mean, it's constant. It's an infomercial for our community. And nobody debates that, and no economist could say, well, you know, I mean, and also, last year's Super Bowl, the 10 minutes, the 30-second spot, you know what it sold for? Anybody? Huh? 4.5 million last year. 30 seconds. Now, well, we don't get a 30-second spot. We get a whole week of coverage. A whole week of coverage. So I do not engage. I encourage our elected officials, do not engage in that discussion about 200, 300, 400, and this displays. It's pointless. You're arguing against yourself. The media coverage is priceless, and nobody could argue it. And by the way, probably by 2020, a 30-second spot will be 5 million. It'll be 5 million. Other questions? Other question? Okay, Cuba. I'm going to ask the Cuba question. Huh? Anybody want to ask a Cuba question? No, you're not interested? Who wants to hear my response about Cuba? There's somebody there. Yeah. Here's Cuba, the opening of Cuba. And by the way, this issue of opening of Cuba, Cuba's been open to the entire world for a long time. It's just one country. It's us. So the question is not when Cuba opens, when it opens to the U.S. The opening of Cuba is going to be good for Miami in two ways. The cruise port, cruise capital, always was, always will be, and you already see that. They're not going to be home ported down there. If they do, they're going to be old rust buckets. But this will strengthen our position as a cruise capital of the world because they're going to do more ports. There are more ships and bigger ships. They're going to be home ported here in Miami. The corporate headquarters of the top cruise lines in the world are based here. So it will be good for Port Miami. And it will also be good for Miami International Airport because planes will go through, in and through MIA. But the Cuba customer is not our customer. We've become more of a luxury destination. Art Basel, arguably the top art event in the world. So we're not there. The current Cuba customer is not our customer. So that's where I'm at on that. I hope that answers your question on Cuba. So, anybody? Somebody had a question the other day about.
Bill, you talked about Miami International Airport, the tourists that come into Miami. How does the Bureau look at the tourists that fly to Broward? Are those numbers counted?
Fly where?
Broward.
Broward, the county to the north of us. Yeah, it's a good, excellent question. It's interesting. The 400. Remember, I said we conduct 400 interviews every month. Some of those interviews are at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. Why? Because, and you will see in our, you can go online and get our whole visitor profile. 1.5 million of our almost 15.5 visitors, overnight visitors, come to the Fort Lauderdale Airport based on our surveys. Now, they're not Lauderdale customers. They're coming to this great place called North Miami and Greater Miami. And so I've always said this, and the airport folks used to say, oh, Bill, why are you saying that? That airport's important to us. In many ways, the Lauderdale Airport is the domestic airport for the region, and MIA is the international airport for the region. So we get 1.5 million of our 15 million to that airport, so it's very important to us.
Another thing, how do you assess visitors that come in town? They may drive or other means other than arriving by the airport. How do you keep up with that?
Well, the survey, we once again, 400 every month. How did you get here? We flew, we drove. I don't know that we walk now, but only 4% of our visitors drive. Now, I'm from Florida, and if it's a day, you drive and drive and drive until you get to Jacksonville. Now, people do drive to Orlando, but then they just run out of steam. So, and by the way, we've worked on expanding the drive program. So if we double it, it goes from 4% to 8%. But and likely, but the airport customer is likely to be an international customer, going to stay longer and spend more. But we just got off the road. We have our summer road trip. The Bureau team and our partners get in the bus and go around the state, promoting in-state travel. And we've had some level of success.
Well, you just said that a lot of people, they drive to Orlando. When all aboard Florida, do you see an opportunity?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Eric. You're helping me out. We're actually with the president of all. Anybody know about All Aboard Florida? Well, soon, at the end of next year, everybody will know it. It's a privately financed, you're not allowed to say high-speed rail, but it's medium-speed rail. It originates in downtown Miami, Florida. Their station there is 5 blocks long. It's right there, right next to World Center. 5 blocks long. It's under construction now, and in many ways, it's going to be a shopping center. And it's just like, remember Grand Central Station in New York? I was go to that restaurant there. They're going to have restaurants and retail and 5 blocks. The next stop, when you're heading north, is in downtown Lauderdale. That terminal is under construction. The next stop after that is in downtown Palm Beach. That station is under construction. And then you ride until you hit the Orlando airport. And they have a big presence there, and they'll feed off of that. But this All Aboard Florida is going to be a game changer. It's going to get you to, I'm more concerned about bringing people from Orlando to here. And so I keep telling them, I want to be on the first train in Orlando. Aren't you going to be here? No, I want people to come here. I don't want them to leave. But it will for the region. So you'll be able to go here and have lunch on the whatever side of business, have lunch in Palm Beach, and come back home and be here. So it's going to change. And if you travel the world, many of you, we all travel the world. This is, whether it's Europe and Asia, this is how they get around. This is privately financed. The trains are being built in the United States of America. All the stations are coming out of the ground, and once again, privately financed. Yes, Larry. Mr. Manager, I'm sorry.
You can call me Larry. Bill, given the railway, and I know all aboard is looking to potentially work with Tri-Rail, and where we are, our city is positioned in the middle. We're a coastal city, so we have waterfront, and we are looking to do a rail station. How do you see the development of hotels? Because I know in our master plan downtown, we have one here, but we also have, you know, all the property along the Biscayne corridor that I could see as infill hotel.
All of that will
use.
infill. All of that will infill. This, we were talking about earlier. Right now, it's about the real estate here. Some of it's not the location. It's just the raw real estate. You know, not on the beach, the downtown parcel, on the river, an acre for $125 million. A hole in the ground, the Chinese paid $89 million. But it's the real estate in this magic word Miami, and you're part of the magic word Miami, North Miami. But that whole corridor is all going to, you see it marching north, and it'll march back south. So I think you're well positioned. You have the right name, North Miami. I think the word, you know, in the old days, you know, the word Miami was, you know, you had to shy away from it. But it's one of the most magical words in the world today, and you're part of that. You know, you're part of you're part of the brand called Miami. And the further away you go, it's Miami. It's Miami. And even the beach is understanding now, it's Miami. It's Miami Beach is the beach of Miami. But the word, I mean, you look at, you got American Dream Miami, right? Over here. You got, Oh, thank you. Directionally fair. You've got the regular socks on there. But, I mean, the development, and you're in the perfect spot to benefit from all that development. And if you pay attention, and you're clean and safe, and you raise your hand, and you become involved, good things will happen. That answer your question?
It does.
Mr. Manager, Larry. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here, Mayor, and all the elected officials of City of North Miami. Thank you for this opportunity, as well as the other chambers. My name is Faye O'Dalik, and I'm a small business owner as well as an entrepreneur. And my question to you is, how can we get the small businesses more engaged in the travel and tourism, since it's such a big sector in our economy here in South Florida, especially Miami, and also Little Haiti, as it's been officially officiated as Little Haiti. How can we make sure that they're prepared for the bust of the tourism that's coming through this area and take advantage of your opportunities that you have for
We'll
us?
exchange cards. We actually had, was it a week ago? 2 weeks ago in Overtown, we had 63 small businesses. The Bureau, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, created about 18 months ago a new department called the Multicultural Tourism and Development. And the development side is to develop businesses, to be involved in capacity building. In fact, there were 63 businesses there, and Eric Knowles, I think, was one of the lecturers there, but I think it's to become involved in our multicultural efforts, and also, 30 minutes up, but also to become involved, you'll see a rollout on the Super Bowl. The Small and Minority Business Program for the Super Bowls started in Miami, Florida in 1989. And all the other cities have copied it. So we probably, in 2010, and Eric was probably involved in that, had record minority and small business participation in the Super Bowl. So the Bureau's Multicultural Tourism and Development, and by the way, 63 businesses that said, we want a piece of that pie. And some of it is capacity building. So the Bureau is prepared. This is one like what other bureaus are doing, because we know we're going to bring these visitors here, and we have our whole, neighborhood People and Places program, but we want to send folks to places where people can do business, and so people want to return. They get good service, so we'll exchange cards. So, but that's something we've been involved in. Hopefully, Eric will touch on that. So, good, excellent question. We couldn't have said that a couple of years ago. So, with that, any other questions? I'm going to stay. I think most of you got my card. I have a weekly newsletter, comes out every Sunday. We're in the good news business, and there are events in there, and my cell number is on my card. And if you want to, I'm a texter. They don't see me in the office. I'm out in the community. We're involved, and we travel. Like I said, I'm going to be the chair of Visit Florida. That's going to be good for our community. Visit Florida, turn that battleship a little south. So I thank you for listening. And Mayor, you stayed the whole time. That's great. Let's hear it for the mayor.
Bill, let's hear a round of applause for Bill again. It's amazing when you travel overseas. So right, just the branding of the Miami piece is really seen as a regional connector. Just a couple weeks ago when we were part of a delegation that went to China, every time we mentioned North Miami, we could have pretty much been on record. Just the association with the name, you don't recognize that it carries its own drive and it has its own marketing effect overseas. As a part of today's discussion, we're focusing on travel and trade and tourism. Bill started the conversation regarding tourism, but a part of the panel discussion, we'll get a chance to bury down a little deeper and unpack the conversation of trade in the region. When you imagine that there are 15 million people that travel through the airports and the seaports in South Florida, certainly someone in that 15 million must be spending money here. So the flip side of the conversation is not just the traffic of people that are clogging our streets or the airwaves. We're really trying to figure out from an economic development standpoint, how do we get them to stay and spend and really invest in the South Florida community? North Miami is a subset of that. So our conversation today is figuring out how we can connect with the dollars and connect with the traffic that's flowing into South Florida. So who best can moderate that type of discussion than Mr. Eric Knowles? Eric is no stranger to North Miami. He currently serves as the CEO of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. Eric, if you could make your way over to the podium. Eric has an extensive bio in civic engagement. I didn't know actually, I just discovered this week that Eric was actually, he actually served in the Army. So he has quite an extensive background in terms of public involvement. And I know he serves on a whole plethora of boards in Miami-Dade County, but his heart and his passion is with the small business, and it's really with connecting the dots and finding resources as to how small businesses can expand and become successful in your community. So I'm going to introduce Eric, and Eric will actually introduce the panelists that will be engaged in today's discussion. So Eric, I'm going to turn the podium over to you, and you can bring the cast of characters on, and we can have an engagement this afternoon.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Before I start, I want to give my good friend Bill Talbert another round of applause. It took me a while to get him to do the sock thing. As he said, a couple years ago, I bought him a pair of socks, set of socks for his birthday. He didn't wear them for a while. I would see him out and like, where are the socks? And finally he started wearing his socks, and then his daughter gifted him a set of socks. So every month you get a new one? Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, I'm kind of dull today, Phil, so, but anyway, you got me. The other thing about Bill and I kind of joined forces several years ago when I started in professional sports back in 1997 with the stadium and the Marlins and the Dolphins. And my first Super Bowl was in 1999, running the stadium. And then the last Super Bowl that I participated in was 2010, what I call the Purple Rain Super Bowl. And I'm sure we all remember that, Prince. And people said, well, it rained just for Prince. Actually, it was raining all weekend. And what made it great was that you were prepared for the rain because it had been raining all weekend. It wasn't like all of a sudden the skies opened up and it was a terrible experience, but it was a great experience. Tourism is obviously very important to our community. As Bill mentioned, I am on the board of the CBB and the Black Hospitality Initiative. As Bill said a few weeks ago, we got together over at the Lyric Theater, and the question that you asked a few minutes ago in reference to how do we get involved, how do you grow your business, I would definitely say connect with the CBB, but also connect with the Chamber. That's what we do. We connect people, we connect businesses. So without further ado, I want to bring up our panelists. Manny Gonzalez, Chief of Economic Development and International Trade of Miami-Dade County. Would you come up, please? Have a seat over here. Mr. Eric Olofsson, Manager of Trade Development and Foreign Trade Zone 281 out at the Port of Miami, and Carolyn Lusby, PhD, Assistant Professor at Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism out at FIU, my alma mater. We're going to get started. I know the afternoon is still young, but I'm sure we all have to get back to our day jobs. And definitely want to recognize the mayor. Did he slip out? Oh, there he is. I want to recognize the mayor and all the great things that he's doing in the city of North Miami. Obviously, the manager and assistant manager and I believe our police department, they were here, they left. But again, thank you all for being here. I'm going to jump right into it. My first question is for Manny. What are the biggest challenges and opportunities facing Miami-Dade County right now in regards to international trade and economic development? That's part one. How has the economic slowdown in Puerto Rico and other parts of Latin America, as well as parts of Asia, affected international trade here in Miami-Dade County overall?
I think the trade with Puerto Rico is a minor player compared to what we have with the other major markets. Trade in South Florida has gone down, and it's gone down about 6.78%, principally due to the value of trade, principally due to the price of oil, downward trends in Brazil, and the price of gold. We are a major gold importer and transshipment point. But at the same time, if you look at the figures of our combined kiloweights, and I think a lot of it has to be by ocean, we're doing about 10 million kilos, I think, and we're doing about 11 and a half. I think a lot of it is growing. I think 9 and a half of that is from the port. I think we've had an increase in the volume of 15%, and I think we had like 1 month it was like 20%. So the opportunity existed. There are markets that go down. Brazil was about $13 to $14 billion in trade. It went down considerably to about 18% down. Most of the trade, you talk about the direct flights from one destination to another, but half the planes that come to Miami International Airport, half of them are filled up with cargo. And the airlines like cargo because they don't complain about cold coffee or lost luggage. So they really want to fill up the belly cargo. And a lot of that is important because it creates jobs in logistics, trade, services, trucking, and you name it. So the opportunities from one market that slows down, I know Billy talked about Brazil being number one. I think 2014, they dropped about 4.38%. And this year they're up, 2015. I do read your reports, Billy. And I get your newsletter. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to Bill's newsletter on Sundays, I highly recommend you do. It makes a difference. Argentina, a couple of years ago, was a slow market. Trade with Argentina had dropped. Today, Argentina is doing very well, not only in terms of trade and cargo, but in passengers. So I think you have to look at this region in the long term. You have to look at things, not monitor it day by day or quarterly, but at the same time look at it from long term. And overall, we still sell more product than we actually buy. We did about, I think it was $106 billion in trade, and we had a surplus of 10 billion. So that means that for every truck that comes from Peoria, Illinois, Elizabeth, New Jersey, Marietta, Georgia, when it drops the cargo either at the port or at the airport, I think it's 1 in every 5 is empty. And so that creates a low transportation hub. And we do import. People talk about exports, but imports are important. If you buy a flower anywhere in the United States, especially a rose, during Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, and I always say this jokingly, 11 out of 10, and I say 11 out of 10, doesn't make sense. 90% of the time that flower came through Miami International. But that's job creation. And if you talk about an entrepreneur getting involved in any opportunity, well, you have a whole new spectrum that's coming in, which is e-commerce. And there's places in Miami that's a warehouse double the size of this, and they have a rack of flowers, or they have racks of flowers, and they'll sell the flowers over the phone, and they'll call the logistics company and say, rack number 8 goes to New York, rack number 3 goes to Houston, and rack number 4 goes to Atlanta. So I think the opportunities is in the marketplace, it's in delivery. The challenges is technology. There are planes that didn't make it here to Miami directly, and they had to fuel. I know the ships are different technology in itself. So I think we're looking at connections with Asia to actually diversify our market. And again, we're blessed both at the airport and in the tourist industry that 50% of the 15 million people that visited us, correct me if I'm wrong, Billy, half of them are international, half of them are domestic. Unlike some markets where you're 100% dependent on one or the other. So we're pretty balanced, and both of them are growing.
Okay. Thank you, Manny. Carolyn, my question, FIU has expanded the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management all the way to China with its new location in how do you pronounce that, Bill?
Tianjin.
Tianjin. Beijing, Tianjin. How many Chinese students study here in North Miami, and local FIU students travel to study abroad in China?
I was saying, Tianjin is Beijing's port city, and we've actually been there for a while. Since 2008, we've had over 1,000 students graduate in Tianjin on campus. Each year, we admit about 300 new students, which adds up to about 600 students each year that study from Tianjin at FIU. And that's not just undergrad. When you think about, we have a program, like a 4+1 program, where you do 4 years of undergrad and you do 1 year of a master's program. So a lot of these students then go on and actually stay on our master's program. All of our faculty at Tianjin are now accredited through FIU and are actually accredited hospitality educators. So they're basically FIU faculty, they're teaching there. It's all in English. I don't know if you guys knew that. And these students love to come here because they feel that they don't have to do a major transition. It's a university that they already know, it's a brand they already know, it's all in English, so it's just a continuation of their program. And they really like that. Also, a lot of their friends end up going, so they have this little community and they help each other out when they come here. Let's see what else. We graduated 300 students just last year. We just renewed in April, I think, for another 10-year contract. So this relationship is only going to keep growing and keep growing stronger. We just installed, now this sounds kind of basic, but a high-speed connection between the two campuses because, as you know, internet security in China was a little bit tricky and a lot of our students couldn't access some of our classes. So now we're actually able to offer live classes between the two campuses, having our students and faculty interact live, so that's a major stepping stone. In terms of our students going to China, just to answer your question on that, that's a lot less, and we're really trying to push that more. What we do see is that because we have so many students from China coming here, that our students increasingly are more aware of being able to speak Mandarin and the culture, knowing that it's a huge market and being able to deal with that. And so I would say there's about maybe 15 each year that actually go abroad for a semester to a year.
So are the students that are coming from China, are they coming here getting education going back, or are they coming here getting education and staying and working in the U.S.?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of them would like to stay, but it's hard. It's really hard for them with their working visas to actually, student visas to get a job. And we also find that even just for the internships, it's a little bit of a struggle to even place them in internships in the 1,000 hours that they need to complete their degree.
Eric, many of us have heard of foreign trade zones, but few actually understand the extent of what they are, how they work, what the role that they play in our community, how they can be used for the purpose of economic development. Can you describe what a foreign trade zone is, 281, and why is it important to the county and the region from an economic development standpoint, and how can North Miami capitalize on foreign trade zones?
Sure, and Eric, thank you very much for moderating this panel, and Mr. Mayor, it's a pleasure to be here and talking to the folks of North Miami. The Port of Miami was given a license to Foreign Trade Zone 281 3 years ago from the Department of Commerce, and the traditional foreign trade zones was a zone that was surrounded by barbed wire. It was a fixed structure that was owned by a zone entity, and you would put your goods in that zone for deferred or no duty purposes. Under the new model, everywhere in the county is a foreign trade zone right now, or eligible to be a foreign trade zone. From Southwest 8th Street to the Broward line, from the Everglades to the ocean, is all a foreign trade zone. So the entire city of North Miami is a foreign trade zone. And what it means is that if you have a warehouse, or even have an area in your business, it could be the size of a conference room, or it could be 200,000 square feet, you can apply to the federal government under the Department of Commerce for a foreign trade zone designation, as long as you have the proper software and the proper security and proper accounting. What you can do is you can bring in foreign product from anywhere around the world to your warehouse. You can keep it there for an unlimited period of time. You can manipulate it, so you can take two items, put them together, manufacture something here, send it back out. As long as it goes back out again, you pay no duty on it at all. If you bring something into your warehouse, let's say in January, but it's not supposed to go out until Halloween, you can keep it in the warehouse for 5, 6, 7 months, and you don't pay your duty on it until it leaves in October. It's a huge advantage right now, because on the letter of credit, you can keep that money rather than paying the duty. If it doesn't go to a foreign trade zone, as soon as it arrives at the airport or the seaport, you have to pay duty on it. So the advantages for North Miami are is that anybody here in this community that has space can apply to the foreign trade zone. They can get it designated at a nominal price. Port of Miami runs it as a utility, which means that we don't make any money off of it. We just spend enough money as to pay for the salaries of the people administering the zone and to do the proper paperwork. But I'll give you an example of Wynwood, which is near here. Very small business, was importing gold from Colombia. And what they do is they import the gold from Colombia, they melt it down, they make it into beautiful nautical shape jewelry in like the size, like an anchor, let's say a ship's anchor, different nautical type novelties, and they send it to the Caribbean. So when you get off that cruise ship in Aruba or in the Virgin Islands and you buy that beautiful thing that looks like it was just made there, chances are it's Colombian gold that came to Miami and that went to the Caribbean to be sold at that unique shop. They used to pay 10% on that gold, but they became a foreign trade zone. It's the size of a conference room. So they melt all the gold, they make these beautiful little jewelries, and they send it back out again. And they do about $10 million a year in business. They used to pay 10% of that in duty. So basically, we just gave them an extra $1 million for a $5,000 a year FTZ fee. So that's the advantage here, and we're looking to expand into areas like North Miami where there is a warehouse district and there's a lot of opportunity to do small manufacturing or large.
That's very interesting. Is anyone here working in a foreign trade zone or has their business located in a foreign trade zone? No one? Okay, here's an opportunity. Manny, workforce and infrastructure are two of Miami-Dade's critical needs. There seems to be a skills and knowledge gap in South Florida. How are you working with the needs of the private sector and universities to implement a cohesive workforce development strategy and strengthen the infrastructure of the county?
That's a very good question, because we talk about the ports dredging to become Panama, post-Panama ready. We talk about the airport and the importance of bringing in tourists and developing opportunities into the neighborhoods. And the airport spent $6 billion. But the next thing that we really need to do is not only just investing in infrastructure and actually trying to lower the transportation costs, but in international trade, you have to shorten the distance, or you have to make it efficient. And looking at the recent studies that we've had, and this is census data, 2014, trade, transportation, utilities had about 284,000 in Miami-Dade County. It's projected to go to over 310,000, which is about a 23,000 increase in the next 7 to 9 years. And what do we do when we have the demand for 23,000 new jobs that are being created by the economic activity? We don't have the right training. Now, in addition to the right training, I think what we've had, and FIU does a good job at developing their supply chain undergrad and graduate degree, is trying to get people trained into the lower level jobs. Someone can start as a forklift driver at a warehouse and because of the lack of education, can't move them to management. And I think that's what we're trying to work with Miami-Dade College. And we've developed what's called a talent development network. Because in addition to getting them a certificate or getting them trained, if they don't have the opportunity to do an internship or to start somewhere at a low level, what good does it do to create PhDs if they can't practice their PhD? And that's the biggest challenge that we have, because a lot of the businesses in Miami-Dade County are small businesses. So if you do have any internship opportunities or even summer internships, that would be the best way for folks to start. I started in 1984 when I was in George Washington, D.C., and I started my internship at the Organization of American States. And that's what really got me involved in studying international economics and applying it to a career development. That's the biggest challenge we have is internships. But the academia here has been very, very responsive due to the program we have via One Community, One Goal.
And One Community, One Goal is a great program. For those of you who do not know, it's part of the Beacon Council, and you need to look that up. One Community, One Goal. They have about 7 platforms that they focus on. Education, trade, and tourism is another one as well. Carolyn, can you describe what private sector partnerships, if any, FIU has defined employment for its, if any, FIU has defined employment for its graduates? I know that Royal Caribbean has their training institute at FIU. What is the vision for future partnerships, and how can businesses apply with FIU?
Well, I'm just a faculty member, but I know some of our programs. We definitely want our students to have all the skills that are needed in the world. And so, as Bill was mentioning, we do have an advisory council, and we want industry to come and tell us what are some of the skills that students need in today's economy. So that's one, is you can definitely be on the advisory council, you can have meetings with the dean. We also always need places for internships and 1,000 hours for students. So those are just basically internship programs where students finish their program with a 400-hour internship. And you can apply to be one of those internship places, industry experts, and then hire from there. We also have a whole career development center, to answer your question, and so we have 2 or 3 full-time staff that are really just doing that. They're going out into the industry and finding those partnerships where students can then apply, and we actually help them kind of screen students that would actually fit their businesses. So those are some of the programs. In terms of new developments, you mentioned Royal Caribbean, that's a new one. We also talked to several other cruise lines because we know that's a big thing. We're trying more and more to really have meaningful industry partnerships, but we're helping them develop new programs, develop new research that will actually help them. South Beach Wine and Food Fest is a good example of thousands of our students helping each year, connecting them to chefs, connecting them to different industry, and then actually getting jobs there. Badia Spice, I don't know if you guys heard about that one, is another initiative we have. They sponsor competitions each year where we come up with new spices for them. We get some of the percentage back. So we're really trying to be creative and out there. So if there's any, anything that you think that you want to work with at school, I'm sure there's people that can talk to you more about that.
Thank you. Eric, what are some of the growth markets and industries that the Port is currently targeting for trade development? And what are some of the markets and products you foresee being critical components to the Port of Miami in the next 5 years?
Country-wise, there's going to be a monumental shift in trade starting June 26th when the expanded Panama Canal opens. The Port of Miami will be the only port south of Norfolk, Virginia that can accept the larger 13,000 container ships that will be passing through the expanded Panama Canal. What that means for Miami is that there are going to be less calls on the East Coast, and bigger ships will call on the ports that are deep enough, Miami, Norfolk, and New York. That means that our cargo containers are going to go from about 1 million containers a year to 2 million in the next 5 to 10 years. And the opportunity is in the warehousing district here, it's in the trade. You go to Walmart, you go to Target, 80% of everything you buy comes from China or Asia, right? And a majority of all those products coming into Florida right now, which is the 3rd largest state, come into our state through other ports. They come in through LA Long Beach, they come in through Savannah. But with the opening of the Panama Canal, the bigger ships can avoid the congested ports on the West Coast. They can stop at the Port of Miami rather than going to Savannah and back down again. And so Asia is a top market for us. We just worked Manny. China is going to be a huge shift in trade with the TPP, which is the new Trans-Pacific Partnership. hopefully being signed. You're going to see a lot of other countries other than China, which are Korea, Japan, Vietnam are going to be major players in the future for imports. And then we also don't look past our backyard. 52% of our business right now comes from the Americas. So Colombia, after the foreign free trade agreement was signed less than 10 years ago, it's gone up 25% on the Port of Miami. So I looked at Colombia, Mexico, because of the nearshore manufacturing. They can manufacture the same products that they do in China and Mexico, ship it to Miami in 2 days rather than 26 days. So, and then the Caribbean as well, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and we also have our eye on Peru as emerging markets.
You know, I'm kind of going off kilter a little bit when I'm listening to that, and then there's a particular candidate that's out there saying that he's going to shut down all foreign trade. So, but anyway, just want to throw that out there. Laugh. It's okay. Okay, wrapping it up. How can the North Miami government position itself to capitalize on the region's tourism and trade to create jobs for its residents and become a sought-after destination? That's to everyone on the panel.
I have the microphone, so I'll just finish up. I think you should look into trade and logistics because of the fact that we are going to become more and more like Los Angeles, more and more like a Savannah in the terms of the cargo is going to be coming in. So there's going to be great opportunities in trade and logistics, and also into tourism, provisioning for the cruise ships or working with the cruise industry. We are going to go from 5 million cruise passengers this last year, which is a world record, to 6 million. Royal Caribbean is investing in a huge mega terminal at the Port of Miami, which will be able to accommodate the Oasis class ships. Those are those huge ships that go out of Fort Lauderdale right now. They'll be returning to Miami in less than 2 years, and that each one of those ships has 5,000 to 6,000 passengers on it. We also see major investments in MSC, Disney, and the other cruise lines. So in Miami, the port, the good news is that we're up 15% in cargo. We're up 10% in cruise passengers, expected to go from 5 million to 6 million in the next 4 years. So look to the tourist industries, work with our partners at FIU. They have not only do they have a school of hospitality, which our esteemed Bill Talbert is on the board, but they also have a newly formed school of trade and logistics. So I would get involved in those programs, look to the countries that are going to bring in new products, and both of the cruise and the cargo area logistics is going to be key to the growth, and the warehousing and the open space that we have in North Miami, I think are being major assets that this community has. But if we focus on those areas that have been neglected in the past and build logistics parks, distribution centers, and focus on the increases in trade, we'll be able to prosper and grow together.
Thank you.
I wanted to add to the trade and logistics sector. That's a sector that's emerging and it's huge potential. But I also want to thank, and not because I'm in the city of North Miami, Mayor Joseph Smith has a vision. You also have to start evangelizing what your mission and vision is. And I think this recent trip abroad to China, trying to attract what you're trying to do with your diversification of markets and not just 1 or 2 markets, but being global. And that's what we really need to do, is start evangelizing. I don't think people understand the importance. I know people can kind of grasp the importance of tourism because they see the hotels, but just the airport and seaport, I think combined are about $70 billion in economic impact and responsible for about 325,000 jobs. I think 220 from the airport. I think you're at 207 and 33 billion. 27 billion. And people can't see it. They see the trucks, they see the containers, they see planes landing, but they don't understand that somebody's got to fuel the truck that drives it. Some driver makes money out of it. Somebody's got to maintain the building where the warehouses is. Somebody's got to do the paperwork. And there's a trickle-down effect. And it's one of the easiest industry where, again, someone can start as a forklift driver and move up to management. And that's what I see with the city of North Miami is trying to do. We do have a lot of warehouses in the industrial space. I had the opportunity to meet with Tanya and Sam from the city's Economic Development Department. And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to tell you that you have a great staff. They have vision. They're aggressive, and we're working on helping them on some things.
We keep some of it.
Yes, and I don't say this to pay political advertising because I spend, my meeting should have lasted 15 minutes and it being an hour and a half long, and there's still more homework for the folks and us to help them out. But we're also diversifying our markets. Pharma and life science is an important field for us. We started at 1.8 billion in exports in 2010. We're now at 3.2. And you ask, why is pharma such an important market? Well, if you look at the region in our home and our background, as Eric would call it, just South America and Central America in the next 10 to 15 years is going to have a dramatic increase in the consumption of diabetes medicine. And you say, why diabetes? Is it going over sugar? It's because people are moving from a rural environment to an urban environment, and you have cholesterol and all the other items. So you also have to look at the different lifestyles to determine what the opportunities are.
Karen?
Well, I just want to piggyback off everything that's been said. One that came to me is medical tourism, because that's huge and it's happening already in Miami. So that's something that North Miami, being right between Fort Lauderdale, right between Miami, could definitely easily invest in. Cruise ships was mentioned. You know, I mean, every cruise ship passenger likes to do a little before-after stay, so that's something that could easily be tapped into. You know, you have the Everglades right here, you have Fort Lauderdale, you have the best of both worlds because you have Miami and Broward. You're right in the middle. And piggybacking off what Bill was saying, you already have the name, you already have that world recognition, so just build on that, you know, and make it more well-known. And of course, the relationship with FIU, I do think that more services for students, especially Chinese students, as we're building that program, is going to be huge.
Okay, thank you. Before I go ask questions, before I go to the questions, I want to take a point of privilege. Just want to make this announcement. Many of you, by the show of hands, how many have businesses, own your own business? It's quite a few of you. And the point that I wanted to make is that the Chamber, the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, has a micro loan program. If any of you are interested, we are giving loans from anywhere from $2,500, $7,500 up to $25,000. It's a micro loan program. You have to be in either Chairman Modestine's district, Jordan's, or Edmondson's, or Moss's district to access those loans. Tomorrow, we have a lunch and learn aboard the Biscayne Lady. Chairman Hardiman will be there speaking about opportunities in Miami-Dade County, as well as Gary Hartfield, who works with Miami-Dade County's Director of Small Business. That's at 12 noon. Tomorrow you can go on the Chamber website. And then on June 9th, our Young Professionals Network, they are having a first-time home buyers event out at One United Bank, located on 79th Street and about 32nd, 33rd Avenue. So you can go to the Chamber's website, www.m-dcc.org, and find out more information. Fabio, question?
Yes. Fabio Thornhill, Luncheon Creative Group.
I know you're going to tell me.
But we mentioned diversification of markets a few times. So in terms of trade and logistics, obviously Miami has been positioned and is known as the hub to Latin America and the Caribbean trade. But are we considering Africa? So I just came back from Senegal. I work with the Ministry of Trade and Export in Senegal, and I really think that we're capitalizing on Miami's unique position to be a hub to Africa, especially with AGOA and it being recently renewed last year. So are there conversations to really position Miami and our trade partners around the region to take advantage of AGOA and do business with Africa?
I'll take that one because that was initiated by then President Clinton. We created several events and an African Trade Task Force. We have been in conversation with South Africa. The South African ambassador has supported our efforts. There's been changes on the executive level, but the opportunities for Africa are tremendous in terms of the flower business, in terms of exports, and in addition to the pharmaceutical market. Now, simultaneously, we have to work on Asia. We don't have any direct flights yet, as Bill alluded to. We were there last, in June, actually it's June, so were there in April 2 months ago, and we did have a very good reception of the magical name of Miami. So we are trying to diversify our markets. It's just as I explained, 50% of our tourists are domestic, 50% are international. We also diversify our markets. Example, the port's #1 partner is China, correct? Yes. The airport's #1 partner is Brazil. So we do have to diversify, so if one goes down and the other one goes up, we don't lose. But in terms of global markets, I keep saying we really need to be a true global city with air bridges to all parts of the world. And we've been at it since 1998. So I hope one day we can have a direct flight. Not only to Angola is a very good country because it has a lot of trade and opportunities, it's growing. But Ethiopia, believe it or not, has a lot of growing flower industries where we can have a plane drop ship its belly and come back full of flowers. So the opportunity does exist. Now, it's not us to determine what the private sector does. The old saying is, you can bring the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, we've been at the well for a while. Yes, we're looking at it. Off topic, or after the session on Keith Carter, we do have a person that specializes in the African market in our office.
Any other questions? Well, let's give our panelists, hold on, Eric.
I just wanted to say that in terms of Africa, that is a key market for us as well. Miami-Dade County, actually Florida is the closest state in the United States to Africa. So we are pursuing that. We've gone on trade missions along with the ITC to Africa, and we think that that's on our list of a potential market. It's natural for us to be able to bring in some of that trade from Africa just from our geographic position. Instead of Atlanta getting the direct flights, if we get the direct flights from MIA and ocean services, which Atlanta does not have, we're well positioned for that. And the second thing, Eric, before you end, I just wanted to recognize two of my staff members that are here, Dwight Edwards and Nimrod Simeon. If you could raise your hand. These folks are working with the Foreign Trade Zone. They're key to our development here. And if you have any questions about the Foreign Trade Zone that you want to expand here, I have brochures, Nimian and Nimrod and Dwight all have them too. So thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. I want to thank the mayor and the city for having the insight to bring us all together. May you all have a great rest of the week.
Eric Knowles again and our panelists, if you can give them a round of applause. And to close us out, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to Sliders, who hosted the lunch today, the luncheon. We appreciate it. Thank you. And to invite our city manager and mayor forward just to close us up. Okay, so the mayor wants to announce that we have a job fair that's going to be held here in North Miami. Right. Job and resource fair that's going to be held here in North Miami. It's starting at 10 o'clock. So if you could help us spread the word, since we're focusing on economic development and job creation. Friday. The resource fair will be on Friday from 10 all the way down to 2 p.m. So we invite you to come on out and to be a part of that event. And I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Just quickly, again, thank everybody for showing up. Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your leadership in this respect, and we definitely look forward to the job and resource fair coming up on Thursday. And to our panelists, thank you all. Eric, both Erics, actually Eric and I are friends for a long time. I have a unique history with regards to the port because I actually executed the port tunnel, negotiated and executed the port tunnel agreement when I was at the city of Miami. And it was certainly a big resource, and I hope working with the mayor, we are able to infill a lot of what's going on and take advantage of these opportunities and liaise with our business owners. So with that, I just want to thank everybody and back to work. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you very much. Last word, I couldn't start by the end by not really thanking you, Eric. I met you for the first time, but I know your work and what you have done. As a matter of fact, we have developed a relationship with Mr. the gentleman in charge of the tournament. Yeah, Hutchins, yeah. And what I developed with them is to take some kids, out there. Last year we took about 20, I think 22 or 25, anywhere from elementary to high school. And we take them there to take a tour of the entire tunnel and Fort Miami. And the kids there are really thrilled, and this is like a wonder of the world. And so this year, this summer we can do the same thing. So these are the type of initiatives that we start in North Miami, and we're starting at grassroots level. When the kids are very young, we expose them to different types of professions, different types of opportunities that are open to them, and thereby creating a much healthier community. And also thank you for FIU professor, Dr. Losby, right?
Yeah.
And you know North Miami has a very tight relationship with FIU, especially the hospitality department. So we are going places. Everybody who's here, they are friends of North Miami. Mr. Gonzalez, where is he? Thank you very much for coming. And Mr. Talbot, I don't need to even say thank you. This is your home. Thank you everyone for coming. Again, Friday, this is a resource fair. This is not a job fair. There will be about 50 plus companies who will be here Friday morning from 10 a.m. till about 3. They will be at the plaza. And these companies, they're going to be here. Some of them will be lenders, mortgage companies. They'll be here to offer help, education to people who have trouble with mortgages. And there'll be some companies that offer vocational training programs. There'll be companies offering different types of employment. I don't like to say jobs, because job is something that you get paid by the hour, but there will be opportunities for small companies as well to get contracts. So it could be jobs, it could be contracts, and that's what we aspire to do. We aspire to develop our economic machine in North Miami, and we are very thrilled. I'm not supposed to make a speech anymore, I'm supposed to just close. But So in that regard, I say thank you very much, and let the day continue. All right, thank you. Oh, Mr. Knowles, come on. Mr. Eric Knowles, our moderator. Now, see, I forgot about you because you're home. You're home, so thank you very much for coming.